One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hears back to a cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Witches report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Oh, shit. What a topless Taco Tuesday to start off on. Great to see everybody. Always an honor to hang out with everybody. Today we got a lot of news going on. It's a humongous news day, especially in geopolitics. But Hamas accepts Gaza ceasefire proposal. We're going to be getting into that about the middle of the show. We're doing this all chronologically since basically yesterday, with the exception of not showing what happened yesterday with Ukraine. I mean, that everybody covered it, so it doesn't, regarding Zelensky. Everyone freaking covered it, so might as well push on, and that's exactly what we're doing. DOJ to give Epstein files to Congress, and we got a lot more. So we have a lot of weird lineup this morning. We have 69 firearms recovered in massive Colorado gang bust. Then we have the Israel war regarding Hamas accepts latest Gaza ceasefire proposal. Then Epstein files DOJ to give documents to Congress. Then more National Guard troops are to be expected to arrive in Washington, D.C., as well as President Trump begins planning Putin-Zelensky face-to-face meetings. So now he's done both sides of Putin and Zelensky separately, and now we're going to do this trilateral meeting where there's three parties involved. Then we have also another thing. I guess Trump appeared in Fox and Friends, and we'll end with that. Trump outlines Putin-Zelensky meeting on Fox and Friends, and wars. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the madness, make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. It helps out way more than people even understand. And if you guys are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Please consider, though, becoming a member starting at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there, but check it out. This is the way that we get to speak the way that we do and actually make some sort of where we're sustaining in finances, being able to keep ourselves afloat. So thank you guys for becoming members and all of that, man. I really appreciate that. And of course, staying members. Follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, and breaking news. We do a whole bunch of shit over there, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have the Discord link in the description box below of every single video, so make sure you guys check that out. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted membership signups, all these things are going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube brutal 30% cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms right here scrolling for the remainder of the show. And I've got the email up, so if anything comes through, I'll read it right freaking away, man. So, good morning to everybody. Great to see everybody. Let's go ahead and see who's up in the building so far. We got Charles. Yes, she is here. I promise you, she is here. She's roaming around underneath me, all over the place. So you'll see her running around. We got Brother Mark as well as Shadow. Good morning to you guys. We got Rapid of Chaos. Good morning to you. Get Some Jay. Great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning. We got old brother Beezer Geezer. Great to see you, my man, down there in South Florida. We got brother Steve Easy saying Epstein files. Trumpy said they don't exist, and it's a Democrat scam. Yeah, bro, it's going to be an interesting ordeal here. We got Moto Bomb up in the building. Again, thank you, kind sir, for the raid this morning. I really appreciate that before I'd even started, man. So thank you for sending people my way and showing so much love and support to the channel. And we got Baba Penguin as well, man. Great to see you. Good morning to you. We got Chasing Ghost as well. Good morning to you as well. Brothers Carney Ride. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this. 69 firearms recovered in massive Colorado gang bust. I don't know. Trende Aragua. So it's that gang over there in Colorado.
Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us, continuing to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories.
Did I put him way too fast? No, he's normal. I mean, 1.25 is normal to me, but let's go ahead and slow it down on normal and see how he sounds.
And headlines. Next up, we want to take you out to Colorado.
Okay, everyone remembers this. And remember, especially if you guys are involved in the biker world, there was this whole thing that the Hells Angels was going to show up and handle this this apartment complex in Colorado. And which was false. That was never the case. That was propaganda. That was bullshit. And we were one of the first channels to point that out by doing our due diligence. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's go ahead and see what the fuck they're talking about. But yes, this was August of 2024.
Colorado. That's where federal authorities have unveiled new charges against a violent Venezuelan gang, Trende Aragua, also known as TDA. 30 people have been indicted, including several gang members and leaders. So let's go right now.
So 39 so far from this whole ordeal, or recent? That's what I need to know.
Out to Denver, Colorado. That is where we see Fox News' Kennedy Hayes joining us with more details on these charges. Kennedy.
Hi, Michael. These charges follow a month-long undercover operation here in Colorado, and this case tells the story of a legal weapon.
I really cannot stand this chick's voice already. But it says dozens indicted in federal case against Trende Aragua in Colorado.
Weapons, drugs, and violence, and a warning, some details are disturbing.
During this investigation, the ATF undercover agents met individuals that compared murder to playing games, such as golf. These same individuals described to our undercover agents that not only would they commit murder, but they would bring heads of their victims back for additional compensation.
In total, 30 people were indicted, including 3 leaders of TDA, 1 in the U.S., 2 in Colombia. Charges include murder for hire, firearms trafficking, and drug distribution. Agents seized 69 firearms through the
It was like she was screaming into our ears there. I had to bring it down.
Course of the investigation, and the case began nearly 10 months ago after a rise of violent crime in Colorado. U.S. Attorney for Colorado, Peter McNeely, said some of the defendants who offered to carry out murders were the same individuals committing crimes in Aurora apartment complexes. Now, this is one of several properties in
So this is specific to kind of this case right here.
Aurora, where multiple crimes have been reported, including incidents just this summer. Aurora.
Yo, real quick, we got America Uncensored AU up in the building, as well as we got Rascal up in here. We got freaking Sick Bastard. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us this morning, by the way. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your topless Taco Tuesday. Yes.
Police say TDA first targeted the city back in late 2023.
Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Helps out immensely. Let's get the likes up.
Choosing locations with little law enforcement presence and minimal oversight from
Coder, what's good, my man? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. Great to see you. And fantastic debater, actually, on the left, man. Great to see you, by the way.
Property management. McNeely warns the threat from TDA remains, but efforts to disrupt the gang are ongoing.
I have a message specifically for TDA. We will not let you use Colorado as your headquarters in the United States. If you bring your dangerous crimes to Colorado,
what's up, Anson? Good morning.
We will hunt you down, and we will bring you to justice. And we will go anywhere in the world in pursuit of you.
An ATF agent say even though Colorado is considered the hub for TDA gang activity, this investigation also involves cities like Miami, Chicago, and Kansas City. Mike?
Interesting. All right, so, well, what's
There,
the
as
deal
the
here?
feds continue to go after these
So
gangs.
69 firearms were covered in this big gang bust, and 39 have been, well, under indictment, I guess. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into Israel and their war over there. Hamas accepts latest Gaza ceasefire proposal. So let's go ahead and bring this up and present this guy for you guys right here, right now. Bam. All right. Real quick, before we get into it, though, shit, you know what I haven't even done? We got to have our man speak for us real quick.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Shit, he said it. You know what I mean? What's up, Brother Blair? Great to see you, by the way. Good morning.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Moving from Europe now to the Middle East, our live vantage point we always have there in southern Israel, looking
To give you guys some context here, this happened 11 hours ago.
into the Gaza Strip right now. So this is the news today. Hamas saying it has accepted a new proposal from Arab mediators for a ceasefire in Gaza, as Israel indicated its positions have not changed, while Gaza's health ministry said the Palestinian death toll from 22 months of war has passed 62,000. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul with more.
Israeli forces continue preparations for a new ground operation centered on Gaza City. Ahead of the new operation, the IDF expected to redraft a significant
What's up, Christopher Collins? Another Alabama's finest.
number of reservists and move Palestinians in combat zones further south, though some say they won't leave their shelters, arguing there is no safe place in Gaza. But a new round of diplomacy is underway to end the fighting. Hamas has reportedly agreed to a new ceasefire proposal from Egypt and Qatar that would temporarily suspend military operations for 60 days. During that time, Hamas would release half of the living Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated that Israel remains open to a deal but would no longer accept a partial agreement.
Our continued security control over the Strip is just one of our conditions for ending the war, conditions that Hamas refuses to accept.
And he's facing mounting pressure to reach a deal. Over the weekend, more than 2 million people protested across Israel, arguing that a new ground operation.
Damn, 2 million? 2 out of the 9 million that live there? Are you serious?
Facing mounting pressure to reach a deal. Over the weekend, more than 2 million people protested across
That's what he did say. Holy fuck.
Israel, arguing that a new ground operation in Gaza City could further endanger the hostages.
We are tired of war. We are tired of abandonment. We are tired of sacrifice. We demand one comprehensive deal to bring 50 hostages back home.
Of the 50 remaining hostages still being held by Hamas, Israeli officials believe that 20 are still living. In Tel Aviv, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Jeff, thanks so much. I want to put up some reporting from Trey Yingst in the region saying Hamas has accepted an agreement that is close to the ceasefire terms previously discussed.
Okay, so they accept the proposal, like we said.
Through pressure on Hamas to accept, Qatari and Egyptian mediators secured a breakthrough that preserves 98% of the Witkoff proposal, which the Israeli side had previously agreed to. That's what Fox is told by a diplomat briefed there on the talks. Yingst echoing what this diplomat added, saying this diplomat that this step opens the way to reaching a comprehensive agreement in the best possible manner without endangering the lives of the hostages through further intense military operations and avoiding a worsening of the humanitarian situation for the people of Gaza, who are already suffering greatly. In the meantime, though, let's bring into the conversation our friend there at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy's analyst, Ben Cohen. He joins me. Ben, thanks for being with us. So I was going to ask you this. It seems like Trey Yingst's reporting answered that. whether or not what Hamas agreed to and the Witkoff proposal were somewhat in alignment. This diplomat...
Well, it says 98% in alignment.
Trey Yang says about 98% in alignment. So 2% off. What's that 2% that's off from it?
Yeah, we got to know what the 2% is.
Well, we haven't yet seen the precise details of the plan that the Israelis are now considering that Hamas is reported to have accepted. But my guess would be that there would be some discussion there about the deployment of Israeli forces in the Gaza.
Yo, real quick, we got Gary, my man, and as well saying, good morning, Breakfast Club. 19 likes and 22 watching. Yes, sir. Let's get the likes up. Appreciate you, kind sir. Great to see you.
Strip. And some of the information that I've been getting talks about a short redeployment, some sense of withdrawal in northern and eastern Gaza. But I think Israel is going to absolutely want to retain control of some of the strategic arteries in Gaza, the Netzarim corridor, which runs through the center of the enclave, the Philadelphia corridor that runs along the border with Egypt. But as you say, Andrew, most of this is reminiscent of the Witkoff framework that was released in May. It talks about a 60-day ceasefire. It talks...
So we're not looking at some ending of any war. We're looking at a 60-day ceasefire, and it's unfortunate because it's just like prolonging and kicking the can down the road. Let's just get it over with.
About the release of 10 hostages, 10 living hostages of the 20 who are still alive, and the release of the remains of those hostages who have been murdered. And it would also require Israel...
Well, yeah, there's 30 more. There's 30 that are unalive and 20 that are alive, supposedly.
To release, my understanding is around 200 Palestinian prisoners currently serving sentences for terrorist offences. And I understand that these are fairly serious players in the terrorism world, in the sense that they're serving sentences that range from 15 years through to life imprisonment.
Wow. So what's Netanyahu going to do? Has he indicated that he might accept what Hamas has accepted? Are they going to be on the same page or no?
Well, again, my understanding is that he's considering it. I'm not seeing a huge amount of, to be honest with you, Andrew, I'm not seeing a huge amount of enthusiasm for this plan coming out of the Israeli government. And I think that's partly because the Israeli government in recent weeks has pivoted its position from agreeing to a partial deal, as is the case with the Witkoff framework. You have a 60-day cessation of hostilities, followed by a longer-lasting ceasefire, followed by the installation of some kind of transitional authority in Gaza. Netanyahu has been saying that he now wants an end to the war that would see the release of all the hostages in one fell swoop. But I think increasingly he is seeing, he has in certainly in the last fortnight been emphasizing that this would be a military solution, principally around the IDF.
Fortnight's 2 weeks, by the way.
Taking control of Gaza City, which is the last major stronghold of Hamas there.
But Ben, so yes, 2 weeks ago now, Netanyahu and his war cabinet voted to fully reoccupy Gaza City in a major military offensive. So if, say, both parties do reach an agreement on some type of deal, won't that thwart Netanyahu's attempt to, to your point, root out the last Hamas stronghold in Gaza City? Won't that be put on pause?
What's up, Bree? Great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Taco Topless Tuesday, and great to see you, by the way. Make sure you guys all hit the like button, by the way, while I have this chance where I paused it for a sec.
I would imagine that it would be at least for 60 days. I mean, look, with the previous attempt at a ceasefire to follow along this spectrum, it was never seen through to completion. And I have, I think it's reasonable to expect, sadly, that we would be in the same
What's up, Stephanie, by the way, as well. Great to see you.
Situation here. I think what's different now, domestically in Israel, is that Netanyahu is under a lot more pressure. We saw in your report there more than 1 million Israelis taking part in a nationwide strike yesterday, on Sunday, and emphasizing that for them, victory in this war is meaningless without the release of the hostages. So there is a lot of domestic pressure on Netanyahu, which I think was not as pronounced, say, 2 or 3 months ago.
Shit. What's up, Grid? We got Grid 1 Motorsports up in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far, your Topless Taco Tuesday. Great to see you.
Ditto with international pressure. The European Union is becoming frostier towards Israel, and some might say that the White House is really the last, for the time being, reliable ally that Israel has.
Real quick, while he paused right there, Chatting with Stacks is up in the building. We are doing an interview today. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be pre-recorded, though, ladies and gentlemen, so it's not going to be live. But I'll as soon as I get the end product, I'll make sure that I give it to you guys. But it's going to be basically a biological, whatever, not biological. What do they call it? I don't know. But it's basically just an interview about my life, man. It's going to be a great time. So, anyways, back to
Trump today saying this on Truth Social. We will only see the return of the remaining hostages when Hamas is confronted and destroyed, saying the sooner this takes place, the better the chances of success will be. You mentioned the Israeli body politic and the outpouring of the support for the hostage cause in the streets of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem over the weekend. It doesn't seem like they will abide by a partial ceasefire either. They want all the hostages, living and dead, home now.
They do, but I think many of them would accept a partial deal that allowed for the release of half of the hostages. I mean, look, I think this has been one of the, in terms of Israel as a society, this hostage crisis has been one of the most traumatic events in the 80-odd years that this country has existed. And I think, you know, you have to remember, Andrew, that in the last 2 weeks, we saw some horrifying images of what...
Yeah, well, I mean, on both sides of the equation there. S&S contracting up in the building. Great to see you, by the way, as well as Chasing Ghost saying heading to work late. It's weird. The sun is up. Hey, Chasing Ghost, that's awesome, though. Hopefully you got to sleep in a little bit and enjoy your morning a little bit more. Real quick, we got Bill Castle as well over there in Washington State, man. Great to see you, by the way. Good morning, good morning. An interview about Mike's life that's never been done like 12 times before. Yeah, that's true. That is true. W comment there. Yes, sir. All right, let's go and get into this.
One hostage, Eviatar David, in a tunnel in Gaza, barely able to stand up in the space that he was in, being forced, completely emaciated, and being forced to dig his own grave. Yeah. So I think, you know, when ordinary Israelis are reminded of that image, they may not like, completely understandably, the idea of a deal where they don't get all the hostages at once, but they...
Real quick, what it says here, Hamas accepted the latest proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza and release of hostages with Israel, which is half of the living ones, which is 10 out of 20. And then they said that the remains of the ones that have deceased as well, so they would hold 10. That's from my understanding of this. Of release of hostages with Israel, according to reports. The proposal came from Egypt and Qatar mediators and is similar to one presented by U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff earlier this summer. And again, we were saying that 98% of it align, and we were trying to understand what the 2% difference was, but we really didn't get that answer. Anyways, so let's go ahead and let... actually, we don't really need to let him finish. I mean, there's not really much more he's going to give us, I don't think. So let's go ahead. As soon as, I get more information regarding what's happening there, and as the facts come out, of course, I'll be giving you guys those facts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and move into Epstein files. DOJ to give documents to Congress. Unfortunately, they didn't do a long story on this. They only broke it for like 2 minutes and some odd seconds. But I want to know more, of course. I want to know more.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. As we approach the top of a new hour, I have to get this on your radar. You know, this is a story we have been following for a long time here. Take a look at this. The headline there in the Washington Post. Breaking news. The DOJ will begin sharing records related to deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Friday. That's according to the House Oversight Committee Chairman, James Comer. So the DOJ...
What's up, brother? So loud, by the way, over there in North Carolina, my man.
...has agreed to provide to Congress documents from the Epstein investigation, according to Comer. So this is an announcing a move that appears to avert, at least temporarily, a potential separation of powers clash. Now, the records are to be turned over starting Friday to the House Oversight Committee, which, remember, earlier this month issued a broad subpoena to the DOJ about a criminal case that has long captivated public attention. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff with more.
Is the government being straight with Americans about Jeffrey Epstein?
The early bird gets the worm.
Former Attorney General Bill Barr acknowledging the cameras in place to catch his early arrival. His testimony before the House Oversight Committee kicks off a series of closed-door depositions into the government's handling of Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes.
I think that he's being very transparent.
Barr was Attorney General when Epstein was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges in 2019. Epstein died in prison 1 month later. Other big names subpoenaed in the bipartisan probe include Bill and Hillary Clinton, former FBI Director James Comey, and former Attorney General Merrick Garland.
The Democratic side is doing most of the heavy lifting.
Real quick, Bill Castle, that is the Insanos. Let me go ahead and show you. Boom. It's the Insanos. That's what it is.
Democrats say Barr's testimony did not produce any information not already in the public realm and defended the party's newfound interest in transparency regarding the Epstein case.
This is a promise, I will tell you, that was not made by Kamala Harris. It's not a promise that was made by Joe Biden. This was a promise that was made by Donald Trump.
They told us they had details, they had names, for instance, and they were promising that, and yet now they're not giving us those names.
The Democrats' goal is to try to dig up some type of dirt on President Trump.
According to committee chair James Comer, Barr
just allow the fucking information to come out. Who cares about one side or the fucking other? Honestly, I think people would agree with that. Who gives a shit on both sides? We just want the facts. Come on, man.
Told House investigators that he had never seen anything that would implicate President Trump in Epstein's crimes.
If there had been anything pertaining to President Trump with respect to the Epstein list, that he felt like the Biden administration would have probably leaked it out.
Congressman Comer also stated that the Justice Department is complying with a subpoena for records related to Epstein and that the documents will be turned over to the committee starting on Friday. On Capitol Hill, Alexandria Hoff.
Well, we'll have to be giving you guys, obviously, an update on this whole thing on Friday. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see any other news unless it's some guy, coming on as an analyst discussing it. And you guys see that I really try not to give these analysts too much time. I like to get the facts of what's happening. When they start speculating and shit, okay, now we're done. I just need to know the facts of what's happening. All right, so I'll probably be giving you guys a bigger update on Epstein and what's happening there on Friday. All right, let's go ahead and move into the next ordeal. More National Guards are expected to arrive in Washington, D.C., so let's go ahead and bring this up and give you guys the lowdown here.
547 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Take a look at your screen. This video recorded.
Shout out to Boston, Massachusetts, by the way. Great to see
just moments ago, as we're following new developments overnight in the federal takeover of the district. The National Guard says it's now targeting a handful of metro stations as the crime crackdown continues. It comes as even more states begin to send troops to the nation's capital. We want to check in this morning with Fox 5 DC's Melanie Onwick. She joins us live at Union Station, where you see that video. We're learning it's one of the 10 stations now getting targeted by the National Guard. Melanie, good morning. A lot to dissect.
Yeah, good morning.
What's up, Darren C4? Great to see you, by the way. He says, hey, Mike, good morning to you in the chat. Just wanted to stop by and say thank you for whoever bought me a membership. I think that might have been Papa Penguin yesterday. I haven't been on much at all. Hey, Darren, great to see you, though. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday, even if you have to, hang out for just 30 seconds, bro. It's great to see you. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
So we're here at Union Station as we've been checking out here and there.
Shit, I'm sorry. And Miss Lotus down there as well over there in Florida. Great to see you, by the way. Good morning. Good morning. Let me go and back that up 5 seconds. Here we go.
Yeah, good morning. So we're here at Union Station as we've been checking out here and there. You can see right now the National Guard has pulled up right about 6 a.m. is generally when they have been showing up here at Union Station. A lot of people wondering, well, what on earth are they going to be doing? Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, among those now sending Guard members to D.C., said he's responding to a request from the Trump administration to assist with monument security, community safety patrols, protecting federal facilities, and traffic control. And we
Brother Dark Horse as well as Hardwire. Great to see you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning.
Now know that mission has been expanded to D.C. Metro rail stations as well. Video here from Defense TV showing members of the 113th wing of the D.C.
How many are being actively, how many are being deployed from this? Doesn't say down here. That's usually where it says where I can cut to the chase kind of thing. But
Air National Guard at L'Enfant Plaza Metro. They interacted with Metro riders and Metro Transit Police during their patrols. The task force said Metro Center, Gallery Place, and Union Station are among the 10 Metro stations the Guard will be assigned to. There are 40 Metro stations within the District of Columbia. Now, Republican governors in West Virginia, Ohio, South Carolina, Mississippi, and Louisiana as well are sending up to 1,000 more troops to participate.
Wow, up to 1,000 more. So there's already 800 deployed, right? 800. So up to 1,000 more. 1,800 could be the total. Holy shit.
In President Trump's...
Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. You guys don't have to like what the chaos is going around the world, but you guys can like it for me and my takes, as well as helping out the channel. It's absolutely free to do so, but I really appreciate your laborious work hitting that like button, though. Absolutely.
D.C. Safe and Beautiful Task Force. Mayor Muriel Bowser said the role of the Guard should be limited to support.
They can't do law enforcement as far as I know. That is not what I have been advised. And unless their orders have somehow changed, I don't know.
Yo, Naomi, we got her up in the building. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday as well. Good morning to you.
That they can engage in arrest.
But federal officers can. Now entering the third week of the surge, Attorney General Pam Bondi reports more than 400 people have been arrested, including 135 people in the country illegally. Now, Mayor Muriel Bowser has asked the police chief to address issues of federal officers sometimes wearing masks or not clearly identifying themselves, an issue that has caused some anxiety among D.C. residents and visitors. And there are questions as well about whether National Guard members will be armed. There's been some conflicting reports there. We do know that the Associated Press, quoting a D.C. National Guard spokesperson, saying that troops may be armed consistent with their mission and training, but that spokesperson could not provide any further details. That's the latest here from Washington's Union Station. I'm Melanie Alnwick. Janae, let's send it back to you.
And we don't need Janae's finishing comments there. So we're hearing up to 1,000 more are to be arriving in D.C. All right. Moving on, as of 3 hours ago, now we're going to be talking about this trilateral meeting that is to be taking place by Zelensky, Putin, and Trump. So let's go ahead and get it that up for you guys so I can present it. And here we go.
6:12 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Janae Francine. We do want to follow the very latest of the Trump presidency this Tuesday morning. It takes us out to the White House following this compelling shot. If you were tuned into Live Now from Fox, you saw it live, raw, and uninterrupted as we were following those talks with President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And speaking of Ukraine, I want to transition to give you a live look out in Independence Square, Kyiv, Ukraine, bright and early this Tuesday. This as Ukraine and Russia may be inching their way toward a peace deal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin could soon meet to discuss terms to end the war. As Fox News correspondent Doug...
I wonder where they're going to meet. I wonder if it shows down here. Nope, it does not say where.
Zeta reports from Washington this morning. That follows an extraordinary meeting at the White House yesterday.
Real quick, before he gets into this whole spiel right here, this little section of the news right there before he speaks.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Back to your normal scheduled programming.
The idea here is to have a bilateral meeting between Zelensky and Putin, followed by a trilateral meeting, including President Trump. That's if this process goes as planned. It's difficult to think of another gathering like this
Yeah, that's a humongous lineup right there. That's a lot of power.
At the White House. President Trump playing host to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and 7 other European leaders, all focused on a peace deal for Ukraine.
And then, I don't know if you guys see this right here. I don't know if it was this, but meanwhile, while Zelensky was at the White House, Putin fucked him up while he was here. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, there's just no stopping this shit.
For Ukraine.
In a certain period of time, not very far from now.
Talking doesn't stop what's currently the operation that's currently going on, not until we, sign a contract here or agree to some shit.
A week or 2 weeks, we're going to know whether or not we're going to solve this, or is this horrible fighting going to continue?
This was a follow-up to last week's Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. And what's emerging now is a deal that would likely require Ukraine to cede some land to Russia. In exchange, Ukraine would get a commitment of protection from the U.S. and European allies. But much will hinge on what happens next. A meeting between Putin and Zelensky, followed by a trilateral meeting with Trump.
We just confirmed after this productive meeting with the president and then with all our colleagues, with the partners, we confirmed that we are ready for a trilateral meeting.
Russia, though, will likely
What's up, Brother Lappy? Great to see you, by the way. Good morning.
bristle at the idea of NATO-like protections for Ukraine.
No, and by the way, those NATO-like protections was shot down. Russia said, no, we're not going to deal with that. We're definitely not going to have no NATO-like agreement here. Yeah, he said, hell no. Real quick, we got Ghost Eagle as well over there on the West Coast. Great to see you. Good
And
morning.
former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev took a shot at Zelensky, who had just joked with the president over his decision to dress more formally for this White House meeting. Medvedev wrote on X, "The question is which tune the Kyiv clown will play about guarantees and territories back home once he's put on his green military uniform again."
Shit. What's up, Dragon Classy as well? Good morning.
But President Trump says he spoke to Putin and began to arrange for the next step, face-to-face meetings with Zelensky. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
All right, Doug, thank you so much for that detailed report. Wanting to share some of the many live looks we are getting this Tuesday. Again, a live look out in Independence Square as we are following the very latest with the U.S. and Ukraine. Independence Square, if you didn't know, is in Kyiv, Ukraine. We're also following the very latest out in Russia this morning, what that response looks like, giving you a live look out in Moscow, Russia, courtesy of EarthCam. We do have some statements to share with you, getting back to the latest with the U.S. and Ukraine. Take a look at your screen. The latest from the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr.
Of course, Zelensky always got to write a novel, bro. We got 13 up in the building. Great to see you, by the way. Good morning. Good morning.
Here's Zelensky. He put this on X this Tuesday morning. He says, quote, "Yesterday, important talks took place in Washington with the President of the United States and European leaders. This was truly a significant step toward ending the war."
Real quick, I'll back it up again. I'm sorry, but we got Lee Lance coming in with the 10 months saying, damn, where has 10 months gone? It goes quick, doesn't it, homies? But I really appreciate you sticking around and being a member and supporting the channel, man. I really appreciate that. Making it rain over here, you know what I mean? Shit. Hell yeah.
And ensuring the security of Ukraine. And with the press Tuesday morning, United States and Europe. Yesterday, important talks took place in Washington with the President of the United States and European leaders. This was truly a significant step toward ending the war and ensuring the security of Ukraine and our people. We are already working on the concrete content of the security guarantees. He goes on to say, quote, "Today we continue coordination at the level of leaders. There will be discussions and we are preparing the relevant formats. We will also continue working tomorrow. National security advisors are also in constant contact now. There will be security guarantees. I thank all our partners for their determination and support. Ukraine feels this strength, and we will do everything to make the path to peace a reality through partnership, through security guarantees, and through the courage of the Ukrainian people."
Real quick, we got Hardwire as well, wrapping up at the end of that statement that Zelensky put out. Remember, for 13 fucking months in, how many assholes we got on this ship anyway? We have 100 and some odd members that you guys, support the channel with. Yeah, it's about 100 of you guys. So, Anyways, back to this.
So again, that was the very latest from the Ukrainian president there. The latest from the European Commission president on your screen, Ursula von der Leyen. She says, quote, "We are here as allies and friends for peace in Ukraine and in Europe. This is an important moment as we continue to work on strong security guarantees for Ukraine and a lasting and durable peace." More statements coming in. The latest from UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. You see him in that photo there alongside the Ukrainian President Zelensky. He says, quote, "Ukraine's future matters to us all," end quote. And we know the UK has been at the forefront.
Well, that's an interesting way that they cut it right there. All right, so we now have Trump. I guess he went on Fox and Friends. And regardless, Trump outlines Putin-Zelensky meeting on Fox and Friends, quote, "I end wars." So let's go ahead and bring this up real quick before we do. We got Glare 1% coming out with the $4.99 saying, "Man, we ain't found shit." Hey, man. Thank you, kind sir, for the donation, man, and making it rain, man. All of you guys, Hardwire as well, and Brother Lee Lance. I can't thank you guys enough for your guys' support there. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and present this for you guys. Bam. All right.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I wanted to give you a live look out of Washington, D.C. this morning as we continue to follow the latest with the Trump administration. So yesterday, President Trump said he's begun arrangements for a face-to-face meeting between Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss a pathway to end Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We did hear from the president this morning on Fox and Friends. We do have that exclusive interview I did want to share with you here on Live Now from Fox right now.
45th and 47th President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks so much for joining
He's on the phone. He's on the phone. Got it.
Friends this morning.
Good morning. That's quite a crew. Well,
Mr. President, the whole world was watching yesterday as you got leaders from the European Union, NATO, as well, from all over the world. How did you get them to Washington, to the Oval Office so fast?
Well, I think really they have respect for our country again. A year ago, they wouldn't have come. They wouldn't have even thought about it. Now, we've become the hottest country anywhere in the world. Everybody wants to be here. When I made the call, they came. And they said there's really never been anything like it. You know, you'd have one president or one prime minister, but there's never been, such a group. And these really represent the European nations, these people. And they're very good people. And they want to end the war, that horrible war with Ukraine and Russia. It's a horrible war.
It was such a sense of unity, and
I hope Trump actually says what time and when. I mean, I know he don't know yet, but when is he going to be like trying to make this shit happen just ASAP?
We all enjoyed watching it because America is on top, and it was on your turf, on your terms. I know yesterday you talked about arranging a meeting to take place in 2 weeks between Putin and Zelensky. Is there an update there, and do you plan to attend?
No, I didn't see that, GG. Not that specific.
No, I thought I'd do first let them meet. You know, they haven't been exactly best friends. They haven't gotten along very well. And I called President Putin yesterday, and I do have a good relationship. But it, only matters if we get things done. Otherwise, I don't care about the relationship. I do have a good relationship with him, but I want to get things done. I've solved 7 wars. We ended 7 wars. I thought this would be one of the easier ones, and this has turned out to be the tough.
Yeah, it's going to be the tougher of the entire bunch. We got Gorilla Biscuits as well saying good morning, y'all. Great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning and your Topless Taco Tuesday. I know that we definitely are.
This one, India, Pakistan. I mean, these were big ones, and also all big ones, and some going for 31, 32 years, one for 35 years. The Congo, think of that, the Congo and Rwanda for 35 years. I got that one done. I got them all done, but this one is the one that is the most difficult, and I thought it would be an easy one. So I hope President Putin is going to be good, and if he's not, it's going to be a rough situation. And I hope that President Zelensky will do what he has to do. He has to show some flexibility also. The thing is a mess. This was started by Joe Biden. This was a war that should have never happened.
Yeah, we know that. You don't have to keep reiterating it, Trump. It actually makes your position look a lot weaker when you do that. So stop doing that, please. That's a message from Mike Ball, personally. Stop doing that.
Happened. Millions of people are dead. The country's blown to...
Real quick, we got Carney's Ride coming in with the $4.99 as well, saying smash that like button. Yes, sir. I very much appreciate that. Making the shit rain and shit. Adam Eck, hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you.
Pieces, Ukraine, and it's a shame. You know, my wife Melania wrote that beautiful note to President Putin about children. The children are devastated. They're taken away from their homes. The whole thing. And this is a war that would have never, ever, ever happened if we had a president, a real president.
So, Mr. President, it's been barely a week since you announced that first meeting in Alaska, and it's just been days since that meeting, and then you had the meeting yesterday. In the course of having these negotiations, what has surprised you the most between Zelensky and Putin in terms of their strength or weakness of their position right now?
Well, I think the fact that maybe they're getting along a little bit better than I thought. Otherwise, I wouldn't have set up the 2 meeting. I would have set up the 3, a trilat. But I think they're doing a little bit better. There's been tremendous bad blood.
Brother K2, keep on trucking, my man. Good morning as well. Great to see you.
And again, this was all worked out by an administration that didn't have a clue. And if you remember, they said, well, if you made a minor incursion, that would be okay. That was the end. The whole thing when Biden made that statement. But minor incursion, what does that mean? So I think they're doing okay. I wouldn't say they are ever going to be best friends, but they're doing okay. And we're just going to see. So we're setting up a meeting. I sort of set it up with Putin and Zelensky. And, you know, they're the ones that have to call the shots. We're 7,000 miles away, in all fairness. You know, we spent through the previous administration.
But that's good that they've actually agreed. I mean, it sounds like Zelensky has accepted the meeting, and so has Putin.
In $350 billion. Europe has spent a lot, also $100 billion, but it should be reversed if we should have been in for anything. But it wouldn't have happened, so that would have been much better because so many people died. This is the biggest bad situation since World War II. There's been nothing even close.
So, Mr. President, I know you've been doing deals your entire life when it comes to real estate deals, but this was something a little different. The thing that is surprising a lot of people is when it comes to the security guarantees. I know President Putin said no NATO.
You have a great rest of your Tuesday as well, Naomi. We'll see you on the flip side. Great to see you, by the way. And yes, make sure you guys hit that like button, she says. I very much appreciate that. Putin is going to smack the taste out of Lil Z's mouth. Shit.
And you said, you know what, we're just going to take it off the table. But you did get President Putin to agree to NATO-like protections. So tell us about that. What does that entail?
Well, the war really started over NATO and Crimea. And they wanted Crimea back. That was given, not a shot fired by President Obama in perhaps the worst real estate deal I've ever seen. There's been a couple of them. I would say the Gaza Strip was a pretty bad one, too. Given by Israel so they'd have peace. So they gave away a big percentage of their oceanfront property in order to have peace. How did that work out? Not so good. And Crimea is the apple of Ukraine. I mean, it's so beautiful. And Obama gave it away. Nobody ever mentions that. If I ever did that, the fake news would be writing about me day and night for years. He gave it away. He demanded that they let it go. And Russia came in and took it, just took it like from a candy from a baby. And it was really Obama's, not really, I mean, that was pure and simple, Obama's fault. What a terrible thing he did to that country. And so they lost their heart. They lost the heart and soul of the Ukraine 14 years ago, whatever it might be. And it was so unnecessary to do that. And that's when it really began, when Obama gave it away. And then you had a lot of other events, but you have, tremendous hostility. The people of Ukraine were mortified when that took place. That really began a lot of hatred when they gave it. And they didn't have to. Not a shot was fired. They just took over the most valuable piece and the biggest piece in a sense of, and surrounded on 4 sides by ocean, just a little passage to get you back onto the mainland. The most beautiful piece of property you've ever seen as a real estate developer. I look at it, I said, why the heck did he do that to them? And so there's great hostility, and maybe rightfully so. But one thing was NATO. They went in, they said, we want you, we want to get Crimea back. This was at the beginning. Now, Putin, in all fairness to him, he made a good deal. He got it from Obama. But they said, we want it back, and that was not exactly well received because it was like 12 years before. That's where Russia has its submarine base, and, that's been there long before Putin. They've been there for a long time, but long before Putin. And the other thing they said is, we want to be a member of NATO. Well, both of those things are impossible because, again, long before Putin, it was a no-no by Russia or the Soviet Union or anything you want to call it. Sort of a similar thing as it gets larger, but very similar. But it was always a no-no. You could not. Russia said, we don't want the so-called opponent or the enemy, let's use that term, we don't want them on our border. And they were right. They were okay. And yet they went in and they asked, with the United States, they said, put us into NATO. And everybody knew you just can't do that.
Yeah.
They would never have.
That's never would be acceptable. It's crazy that there was even talks earlier this year about them potentially trying to join NATO. It's like, fuck no. You just want to kill your people? Is that what you want to do?
Agreed to it. This is before Putin. This is long before Putin. It was just a no-no. It was something that was never going to happen. So they asked for it, and they shouldn't have asked for it because it was, very insulting thing. Now, they could have asked for many other things. But the other thing they wanted to do is getting Crimea back, and, that was given. They had built, they were expanding everything and spending a lot of money. All because Barack Hussein Obama gave it away in one of the dumbest real estate deals I've ever seen.
He's got to say his middle name every
Mr.
time.
President, but you got the Article 5 protections, though, for Ukraine. So they're not going to be a part of NATO, but you still got them the same protection.
Real quick, we got Bree Rodriguez coming in with the $9.99 saying GB and K2 request uwu. That's as much uwu as you're going to get from me right there. I'm not doing no voice or none of that shit. But I really appreciate the $9.99, by the way. Making that shit rain and shit. Thank you, Bree. Very much appreciate that.
They're not going to be a part of NATO, but we've got the European nations, and they'll front-load it, and they'll have some of them, France and Germany, a couple of them, UK. They want to have, boots on the ground. Not in. I don't think it's going to be a problem, to be honest with you. I think Putin is tired of it. I think they're all tired of it. But you never know. We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks. That I can tell you, and we're going to see where it all goes. It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal. I always said, you interviewed me, Lawrence, and I think Charlie also. Lawrence, I hate to tell you, Charlie was about the first person in the world to endorse me. He endorsed me about a year before I ran.
Oh my God.
And that's why he called me this morning, sir, would you do an interview? And unlike Biden, I don't need permission from my staff, okay? And then only to be told that I'm not doing it. But Charlie endorsed me about a year before, I think, and he puts it up on his site. It's still, I checked this, it's still on his site. I endorsed President Trump before he even ran. So I always like a guy like that, I must tell you, Now, Lawrence is going to be a superstar, but he was a little later to the game.
Meaning Trump, so if anyone's down for him, he's going to give you that little extra love, you know what I mean?
More crowded these days.
Oh, I just got the email that that's perfect. I just got the email that the Stream Deck, the Elgato Stream Deck, is going to be, it's been shipped. It says it's been shipped with USPS. So I'm super, psyched on that. It's going to bring a lot of character to the show. It's going to be a good time.
Than it was back then. But Mr. President, what kind of assurances do you feel like you have that going forward and, past this Trump administration, it won't be American boots on the ground defending?
All because she didn't know what a uwu was?
That border.
Well, you have my assurance, I'm president, and I'm just trying to stop people from being killed, Charlie. Look, they're losing from 5,000 to 7,000 people a week in that ridiculous war that should have never happened. If we had a normal president, not even a great president, if we had a normal president, that wouldn't have happened. But we had a guy that didn't have a clue. And if they're losing, think of it, 5,000 to 7,000 a week. So even these guys, they'll say, okay, let's meet next week. I said, you can't meet next week. Next week, you're going to have 7,000 more dead people. You can't do that. You got to get this thing done. One of the things at the table was one of the gentlemen, who's a great guy, but he said, I hope I didn't insult him. He said, well, let's meet in another month or two, and let's see if we can start, making some. I said, a month or two, you're going to have another 40,000 people dead in a month or two.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to do it tonight. And I did, actually. I called President Putin, and we're trying to work out a meeting with President Zelensky. We'll see what happens there. And then if it works out, then I'll go to the trilat and close it up.
Oh, that'd be good. Mr. President, did y'all discuss any land swaps yesterday? Because we've talked a lot about the Donbass region. And what was
That's a great question she just asked. I'm thankful she just did that.
Feeling in the room? What did the other leaders say about this?
Well, they understand. Look, everybody can play cute and this and that, but, Ukrainians are going to get their life back. They're going to stop having people killed all over the place, and they're going to get a lot of land. But this was a war, and Russia is a powerful military nation, whether people like it or not. It's a powerful nation. It's a much bigger nation. It's not a war that should have been started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size. And military experts look. If it wasn't for the greatest military equipment, we make the greatest military equipment in the world. and we gave them, whatever. They took probably a lot of money too. But they had tremendous, they had the Patriot missile, which is the best in the world. All the equipment, we make the best equipment in the world by far. Everyone else is like nothing. So we gave them a lot of equipment. Now, with that said, the Ukrainian soldiers were brave as hell because they're fighting a force that's much, much bigger. And
it's called an Elgato streaming deck. Elgato Stream Deck, what it is, it gives you a whole bunch of abilities to scene transition if you want to set it up that way. I don't really want to set it up that way. I want to set it up for sound effects. You know what I mean? So it's a awesome thing for shit like that.
In theory, much more powerful. And, it's not like they've stopped. I assume you've all seen the map. A big chunk of territory is taken, and that territory has been taken. Now, they're talking about Donbass, but Donbass, right now, as you know, is 79% owned and controlled by Russia. So they understand what that means.
Mr. President, what did the other leaders tell you? Because it seemed to be, this is unlike the first Trump term. There was great unity that was there, and we saw their public comments. But when you got them in the Oval Office, and we have this photo of you sitting at the Resolute desk, and all of these world leaders are sitting in front of you. What did they say to you privately? Because it looks like they're on the same page as you, sir.
Yeah, they are. They're very good people. They're very good leaders of their countries. And they want to get back to leading their country. They're consumed far more with this than we are. Because they're right there. We have an ocean that's separating us, right? Thing called an ocean, a big, beautiful ocean, and they don't.
It's always been funny. I've always been the stream guy, but I've never had an Elgato Stream Deck. It's so funny. I used to make my own macros where I would have a super small keyboard. You know what I mean? Where it's like the pad size, and what I would do is I would just assign basically a macro, but a sound effect on it or a scene transition or whatever the fuck. But I never ended up getting a Stream Deck, so finally I've done it.
They're right there. So they have to, that's a different kind of a thing for them. When it comes to security, they're willing to put people on the ground. We're willing to help them with things, especially probably if you could talk about by air, because nobody has the kind of stuff we have. Really, they don't have. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think if a deal is made, famous last words, right? But I think if a deal is made, I think Russia's had it. They've all had it. And for a very extended period of time, I don't think there'll be a problem. But there'll be some form of security. It can't be NATO because that's just not something that would ever happen. They couldn't do that. So who would want that? I mean, if you were Russia, who would want to have your enemy, your opponent, sitting on your line? You don't do that. So it was always thought that Ukraine was sort of a buffer between Russia and the rest of Europe. And it was a big, wide buffer. Everything worked out well until Biden got involved.
Yeah, I'm very involved in the music industry to this day. I mean, I still make music, still have a lot of friends that are in music, and it's nonstop. So, yeah, I love it.
And Biden gave them $100 billion right up front.
Frank?
I don't
Good
give them anything. I don't know if you know it, but since I've been there, we don't pay. First of all, I made a deal to take rare earth. That's the equivalent of much more than the $350 billion that Biden got away, because I felt so foolish. It was so stupid what he did. And I was able to make a deal with Ukraine, and they were very nice. They have great rare earth, among the best in the world. And we took much more than the $350 billion, and they were great about it. So we got that, handled. But now we don't pay any money to Ukraine. They buy through NATO, because I got NATO to go from 2% to 5%, 2% when they didn't pay, 2% of GDP, 2% when they didn't pay, and 5% now they do pay. So it's trillions of dollars. So what we do is we make the equipment, the military equipment, and sell it at a full price. We sell it to the NATO. We sell it to NATO, and NATO pays us immediately. And that's the way it's working. And then NATO takes it and does what they want with it, because they really have the right to do what they want with it. But for the most part, they give it to Ukraine.
So, President Trump,
so we're not losing. We're not like we were with Biden, where we're paying hundreds of billions of dollars out. We're paying nothing.
President Trump, during the meeting yesterday, when you decided to call Vladimir Putin, what was the reaction among the other people in the room, and what was President Putin's reaction to being brought into a phone call in the middle of your meeting?
Well, I think they expected it. I didn't do it in front of them. I thought that would be disrespectful to President Putin. I wouldn't do that, because they have not.
But yeah, you call them up, have that. All right, hey, listen, we're going to do this conversation. Blah blah blah.
Had the warmest relations, and actually, President Putin wouldn't talk to the people from Europe. I mean, that was part of the problem. They had no communication.
Yeah, they want him for war crimes. So why the fuck is he going to talk to any of them?
They had no communication with the White House for years. as people died. Years with Biden and his people. No communication. Putin told me years. It was years that he didn't speak to anybody from the White House, and it was a long time that he didn't speak to anybody from Europe. No, it's a fractured relationship. And when I came in, I always had, despite the Russia hoax, which truly was a very dangerous thing for our country, but despite that, I maintained a very good relationship. I mean, you saw that when he got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth there that you can't, there's a decent feeling. And it's a good thing, not a bad thing. People would say, oh, it's such a terrible thing. It's not a terrible thing. You know what? We've got the most nuclear weapons in the world and the most powerful. He's got second.
So can you describe for us how that happened? Did you just announce that you were going to go into the other room to make the phone call, and then you got up and left and then came back?
I think they sort of knew I was, at the end of the meeting, I was going to call President Putin, and President Putin expected it. And he was there. Now, by the time I called him, it was 1 o'clock in the morning in Russia. Russia's a big place. They have 11 time zones, I believe. 9 or 11, but I think it's 11.
But
think
Mr.
of it, 11 time zones. That's a lot of time zones. So it was late. It was
Jack?
like 1 o'clock in the morning, but he picked it up very happily. He's sure he works very hard, like we all do. And we had a very good call. And I told him that we're going to set up a meeting with President Zelensky, and you and he will meet. And then after that meeting, if everything works out, okay, I'll meet and we'll wrap it up. But, it takes, in this case, 2 to tango. They have to have somewhat of a relationship. Otherwise, we're just wasting a lot of time. I don't want to be doing that I just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers, some people as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade. I was negotiating with both of them. I said, I'm not going to make a trade deal with you guys. You're fighting until you get peace. And I got them on the phone. I made a peace deal. And many deals, 6, actually 7. And then we took out the nuclear capability from Iran. That was a big one in those pilots and those planes when people saw, we had the B-2 fly right over President Putin as he left his plane. He looked up, he said, what the hell is that? That's a hell of a noise. We didn't make it environmentally friendly, okay? If that's okay with you guys.
Did the First Lady let you read the letter that Mrs. Zelensky wrote to her?
I purposely didn't. I did not do it purposely. It was given to me sealed, and I'm sure it would have been fine, but she gave a letter to Melania, and Melania told me it was absolutely a beautiful letter, so I'm going to see it. She's sending me a copy, but I gave it to her yesterday, sealed. It's nice when you give something sealed. I don't like when things are open. I don't like it. So anyway, it was a beautiful letter, I'm sure.
Mr. President, there was a lot of talk yesterday when we were watching this about what happens after your presidency. How can we ensure that this conflict, that Putin doesn't inch in closer or more into the Ukraine territory? Is there anything that we can do? Can our congressmen and women pass any laws?
Well, now this is where we're going to start speculating.
That would involve Article 5. How would that be handled?
All you can do is make sure you get a good president, not one of these wackos like in California that runs the worst.
Like Gavin Newsom, which he's getting at right now.
Anybody seen that guy in Illinois who his family threw him out of the business because he was no good. Now he's running Illinois and he wants to run for president. He's got zero chance. Maybe Newsom has a little bit of a chance. I don't know, but it's hard to believe because his record's
No, he don't have a chance.
But he
definitely doesn't have a chance. The reason why he's hated on by even Californians. He's hated on by everyone. I mean, anytime California is brought up, especially around here, like, oh, fuck that Gavin Newsom guy,
What you can do is hope you don't get that as president. We have a great bench, as you know that. We have great talent.
Definitely doesn't have
and
popularity.
JD and Marco and Scott Bessen's been great, and Howard. They're all. I mean, we have such superstars. Remember this. Take a look at the border. The border was a disaster. Millions of people were pouring through.
Much love, Brother Papa. We'll see you on the flip side, my man. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Border. Within 2 months, it was perfect. And within now, every week, every month, they say zero people are coming in illegally. We were taking people from prisons all over the world, gang members.
Well, we know all this, Trump. We know all these things. All right. So it sounds like that's about all we needed to get right there. Real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find someone that is live. I believe Carney is live, so let's make sure. We were actually supposed to raid him yesterday, and unfortunately I did not raid him. This time we will. There we go. I got it set up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for your engagement, your guys' comments, likes here at the very end, man. It doesn't matter whether it was in the beginning, middle, end. Man, I really appreciate it. We got Bob from Biker News Canada up in the building as well. Hopefully you're enjoying your Tuesday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys here in a little bit. We'll be back tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Again, thank you guys for the donations, your guys' memberships, and making these very shows happen, man. I'm very honored by that. So until then, God bless everyone. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.